Hello, folks. Welcome, everybody. I'm checking out my chat box on my laptop if you see me looking away. Welcome to another live cooking demo. I host them every Wednesday. And I've been doing that since April, which is crazy. So thanks very much for coming here to watch. We have another really super easy recipe. I know I say that every time, that it's super easy, that it's delicious, that it's the best recipe I've ever made. But this one is super easy, and I've already done my test batch and my taste test, and it's really good. So this is a very simple recipe today, and we're going to be using chickpeas. But first I wanted to just mention that it is Remembrance Day, and that I hope that everyone took some time to remember anyone that they had in their family that was in the war, or anyone else that helped fight for freedom. I had 3 grandparents in the war. They all survived World War II, and later passed on, so I remember them fondly today and every day. So let's get started with our recipe. So today we are making faux chicken nuggets out of chickpeas, and I saw this recipe on, I think someone shared it on Instagram, and the recipe was so easy. I was like, I have to make this for my cooking demo. The whole point of these cooking demos that I love is to show people how easy and cheap it is to eat vegan food. And lately I've been also trying to lose a bit of weight, so also low calorie, low oil recipes that are really healthy for you. Vegan cooking's healthy for you anyway, but this recipe is amazing and easy. So we're gonna go ahead and get started, and there is some super, super basic recipes. I have people talking in the chat, and I don't even know what people are saying, but I think my friend Jess's kids are watching, so I better watch my mouth. So anyway, the simple ingredients are chickpeas. So I have drained canned chickpeas. Make sure you always drain your chickpeas and rinse them well, because you'll have less bloating if you're not used to eating a lot of legumes. Legumes and beans have a nutrient in them that can give you a bit of gas, but if you eat more than 1 serving a week on a regular basis, that eventually goes away. So we have these chickpeas, and I think I'm going to see if I can put on my light. This is kind of, there we go, that's a bit better. And another thing to do with your chickpeas is to keep the chickpea water out of your can. This is called aquafaba, and you can make a ton of stuff with this. So I had another recipe video where we made mac and cheese sauce. You can turn that into nacho cheese sauce. You can use this, you can coat your potatoes in this, your french fries in this, and then when you bake them, they get really crispy. You can whip it up with sugar and make like egg white type stuff and desserts out of it. So never throw out your chickpea water. So we've got chickpeas, we've got a little bit of onion, we've got oats, and we've got a bunch of herbs and spices, which I'll tell you about later, and then plain old yellow mustard, and that's it. That is not it. We also need a little bit of plant milk and some breadcrumbs. So yeah, so I'm going to show you how to get that all together. Let's check it out. Okay. So I think you can see everything. So we have the little mini food blender. And again, this is like I use this thing more than my Vitamix. So this is like the best thing we've ever had. And I think these are like $30 or something, or less than that. So definitely this is great. So here I'm making half recipe. So this is half a can of chickpeas. I will put all the ingredients and all that stuff in the description later. So we've got half a can of chickpeas. And then we've got a quarter of a white onion chopped there. And when I did my test batch, I noticed the onions were a little too chunky. So I'm going to make sure that I break them up here, and so that they'll blend in really well. But I don't mind onions, so it was fine for me, but I just noticed that about the texture. Then we have, this is only 1/8 of a cup of oats. So again, we're doing a half recipe, so we're going to get that in there. And the oats are just going to pull everything together so that it doesn't fall apart when you're cooking it. And then we're going to take our mustard, which I hope the bottle isn't too farty, because that always happens. So you're going to do probably like a teaspoon. You can put a little bit more if you want, but a teaspoon is good. And I found, I found that gave it like a really good flavor actually when you were eating it. I like that bite from it. All right, so now we have this big giant mess of spices. So in here I have about half a tablespoon of nutritional yeast, and I've got like a scant, I didn't half the recipe very well, but I kind of used a teaspoon, so a very low, not very full teaspoon of smoked paprika, garlic powder, and onion powder. And then I also have salt and pepper in there. So let's get some light on that. Awesome. Great. So then we're just going to dump that in there. Try to get it all around, but we're going to blend it anyway. And then we have our food processor, and my food processor has two options, chop and puree. And I'm going to chop it for a little bit first just to break it down, and then I'll puree it and we'll see what kind of texture we get out of it. So I apologize for the loud noise again. So you can see it's starting to get like it's almost like a oatmeal cookie recipe sort of texture, but you want it down a little bit more than that. Woo. So chop, puree, and you may have to squish it down. I think this is also because I did half a recipe, so it's not actually like filling up the blades in there. And you could also just throw this in a bowl and mash it down, but anyway. Awesome. So that to me is fine. You can have it go down a little bit more, but I like to have the chunks of flavor in there. But if you wanted to puree it down a lot, that would be okay. But I think when you have more chunks in it, there's more air and it's going to get crispier. Texture is a big thing, right? So we have that all done. And we're going to take it out of this thing in a second. So it just comes out. I love this. It's so easy to clean, and then you just put it back in. One of the best kitchen tools ever. It might be nice to have a bigger one, but then I think a lot of recipes that I make, because there's just two of us, would get lost in a big one. All right, so we have all of that there. And you can see that it's still crumbly, but it's going to stick together. So that's exactly what you're looking for. You actually don't want to have too much moisture in this, because you're getting the moisture out of the chickpeas. And if it's too moist, then it's going to be mushy. Mushy. Oh, and I'm just noticing the chat. My friend Candace is saying she likes my little poncho. So this poncho was actually made by my mother's mother. I don't know, must have been like 70s, I guess, 60s, 70s. And now I have it and I love it. Awesome. So we have a little log here, and I did it into 6. Yeah, let's do 6 here and just give it a little cut. You don't really need to measure it, but I like to have, like equal parts. And then you just want to roll it a tiny bit first, and then you're going to make like a little nugget shape. Just like that. And you can, there's a whole chickpea there. We'll stick them in here. Awesome. Oh, and my dad's making a funny joke about my sweater. Well, you grew up in the 60s, so I guess you should know. Or was it the 40s? I can't remember. Oh, zing! All right, so there is that. So you want them, like you can have them a little bit thin, but you don't want to dry them out. But we did notice on the test batch that they weren't as crispy on the inside as we thought they would be, but they were pretty good. So we have our 6 pieces. Look at how cool they look. They look just like something you would get from like Gardein or whatever in the frozen vegan section. They look perfect. And I like how the mustard gave it some color there, and the smoked paprika gave it a nice color. So we'll make this one a weird, there, how about that? 6 nuggets, looking good. Okay, so put those over to the side. And then we have in here some oat milk. So that's what I had. So any plant-based milk, you're not going to need a lot. So just put a tiny bit in the bowl until you decide what you need. And I have like a nice flat bottom bowl. And then I have some panko breadcrumbs, but you can use whatever breadcrumbs you want. And a really good way to make it really nice and crispy is actually to use a bit of like corn flakes or popped wheat cereal and kind of blend it up. And then that makes a really nice crispy breadcrumb if you don't already have breadcrumbs. Or you can take a slice of bread, like the butt end of your bread, throw it in the toaster, and then throw your bread in here and whiz it up into breadcrumbs. So you don't need to buy panko, but that's what I got. And then easy, super easy, we're gonna put it in the wet stuff. And always make sure you like don't wring it the water out, but shake the water out. And that will help your breadcrumbs not get gross and gummy, because that is the worst when you're breading stuff and your breadcrumb mixture gets all crud. I hate that. Okay. So then you just go through, make sure you get all the sides, like just roll it around. You don't want to slam it around. You want nice breadcrumbs. You might have to press it to get all the breadcrumbs on it. And then you're going to have something like that. So it looks like a cool little breaded thing. So you're going to do all 6 of those. You probably could try to do them without breading, but I think the breading really makes it nice and crunchy. So, oh, I'm getting breadcrumbs everywhere. Okay. And then, so what I did, let's come back up here. This was a super quick video. So that was super easy. It takes very little time to get that done. The only prep you really need to do is to drain the chickpeas and cut up the onions a little bit. You can add different spices if you wanted to add like Mexican themed spices. You could do that. And I have the final result. Check it out. Let's see if I can zoom in here. Whoa, look at that camera action. Look at it. Look how nice and crispy they are. Amazing. So this is like really great, a great way to have like sort of a nuggety thing without, if you, are gluten-free, you can do special breadcrumbs for that. It's way cheaper than buying like the Gardein stuff. So this is like super amazing. So I did these ones. Were done in the air fryer, and I think I wrote my notes. So I did them at 350 in the air fryer, and then I did them 6 minutes, flipped them 6 minutes, and then I actually put them in for another 6 minutes. So I think if my math is correct, that's 18 minutes at 350 in the air fryer, and they came out really crispy. I love the air fryer. Or you can do them, the recipe said 360 in the oven for 15 minutes, and you'll get something nice and crispy. But one tip, if you're cooking something like this in the oven, whether you buy it from the store, if you buy the little Gardein nuggets, or you make these, one thing that's really great to do to make it crispier, because you know how the bottom gets oily or soggy, is if you have a little cooking tray, put them on the cooking tray on the cookie sheet and then bake them, and then all the air goes underneath and they won't get soggy and oily. I noticed that with some of the Gardein stuff, it'll get so oily that like the breading will fall off when you try to flip it. So if you put it on a little baking rack and then on the cookie sheet, that's awesome. And if you don't have some special oven ready sort of rack that you can use, if you have a toaster oven like that, you can just take the rack out of the toaster oven and put that on the cookie sheet, and you'll always get crisp stuff. So I like crispy stuff apparently. So let's give it a taste test. Checking my comments. So delicious. So I have just a bit of ketchup in my thing, which is, chicken nuggets and ketchup. This pleases adults and kids. So look at that. I love the ketchup. Ketchup is good. Actually, I have a spicy barbecue sauce that would be good too. So let's see if we can focus on that. Look at the texture inside. Amazing. And you have the onion, and you've got that little kick of mustard and the smoked paprika, and then whatever sauce you do it. And I also have some leftover ranch dressing that I made from tofu, and that would be delicious too. So This is great. I really appreciate everyone watching. This is so much fun. Every week I do it. And every week I do it, I'm surprised that the recipe is so easy, and I feel like the videos are getting quicker, which is nice because it makes it easy for you all to watch it. So my favor from you is to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, like the video, and I'll put the full recipe in the description so you can always come back to the video and get the recipe if you need it. And if you have any suggestions for videos, always throw that in the comments, or you can find me on Instagram or Facebook and send me a message. And I'm always looking for cool, easy, plant-based recipes to make that are delicious. Well, thank you. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful week. If you're in Ontario, we're getting like crazy warm temperature. Enjoy it while you can. And if you live somewhere where there's snow, I feel bad for you. I don't know what else to say. All right. Have a good week. Bye.